Hey folks, JD here, and today we're looking at this guy. This is the Eachine Racer 180. So I told you we we're going to have a look at these FPV racers, so here we go. Let's open her up and have a little look inside. Oh, right then. So, wow, this is quite the package indeed. So here we go. Right on the top, we have our Eachine Racer transmitter. Look at that. We'll come back and have a little look at this guy in a bit more detail in a bit later on. Let me just put it to one side. We've got a load of decals and stickers. We've got an Eachine lanyard. We've got 2 sets of propellers. We've got our transmitter antenna mushroom. We've got a bag of stuff. We've got 4 batteries, AA. We've got a battery charger. And now let me see if I can take this out as carefully as possible. Oh, this stuff is a nightmare. Right, there we go. Right, that's everything. Wow, look at that. That is the Racer. Wow, look at that carbon fibre frame. They've tried to shed weight as much as they possibly can with this guy. Look at that. Camera on the front. Right, let's take this off. There's 2 different colour covers here. You've got the white cover, as you can see, and you've got the blue cover. Again, sorry folks, excuse the hands for a second as I just take this off a little bit. Right, so by removing the white cover, you get access to the blue cover. By removing the blue cover, you get access to this massive battery. Let's see if I can pop this off, because this is getting in the way a bit and I don't want to damage it. Yes, there we go. Oh, that's... come on, there we go. Basically, the quadcopter bare bones. Look at that. So the battery is held in with these little straps here, Velcro straps. So what I'm going to do is just undo these Velcro straps. As we are here, let's have a little look at this battery. So let's take this guy out. Wow! So here we've got 1100 milliamp hour coming in at 14.8 volts. Wow, that is quite a battery indeed. This will give you 10 to 14 minutes of flight time. So let's put the battery to one side. Let's focus on looking at this. So as I mentioned at the start, carbon fibre frame, totally carbon fibre. This quadcopter, as I've referred to as a quadcopter, is actually what's known as a tilt rotor. So these motors twist forwards and back to give it its motion forwards, back, left and right. So we'll be able to see that when we take her out for a flight in the next couple of days and a bit more in depth once there's power coursing through this one's veins. So we've got a strip of LEDs going up the side here and a strip of LEDs going up the other side as well. So by flipping her over, you've got access to the antenna, you've got access to the PCB themselves, you've got access to pretty much everything. The antenna, the lot. The underneath of these motors are held in by these 4 Allen screws here, and that's all that's pretty much holding on this motor. And then you've got 4 more Allen screws here which are holding on this propeller mount onto this motor mount onto this propeller arm here. Now these arms, they are electronic, they will move. So these bits here in the end, they will move, they will push forwards and push backwards. So be careful when you are handling this guy. Try and see when the case is on, if you handle it on the case. But obviously when the case is off, be careful of the LEDs and be careful of the wires as well, attaching the LEDs to the main printed circuit board underneath there as well. Wow, this is quite a machine. I'm really quite excited if you couldn't tell folks. So just by taking off that little cover there, as you can see, here's a proper FPV camera. That is absolutely fantastic. That is really, really, really exciting. I'm really looking forward to flying this guy. So what we're going to do to keep everything nice and tidy is we're going to be putting the battery back. Excuse the hands folks. There we go. And we're going to be strapping this back down. Now, as I'm sure you guys can tell anyway, but I'll go into it in a bit more detail. The yellow cable here, this actually gives the power from the battery to the quadcopter. This white plug here is purely charge only, serves no other purpose other than that. Now, as we're talking about charge only, this is the charger. So as we saw, we have our little power supply here, which plugs into the back of the charger, which gives you this white strip here, which is where this battery does fit. So there we go. So there's the charger and the power supply. So let's put this to one side as well. So charging this battery is going to take about an hour and a half to complete, from what I've been reading. That time may alter. There's a little bit of assembly with this tilt rotor. This tilt rotor requires that these be put onto it. Now these propellers, you've got 2 packs. One pack is spare. So what you need to do, okay, so on the top of these motors, you've got these little locking nuts here. One's blue, one's black. So, as per other quadcopters, drones and tilt rotors, they work opposite when you're attaching the propellers. So the blue ones are here, and the black ones are here. So what we're going to do the black ones first. So just by holding the motor ever so slightly, you can then twist off the first nut. So we'll keep the locking nut there, and then once again, holding onto the motor. Sorry folks about the hands. Once you hold onto the motor, there's the other nut there. Okay, so when it comes to attaching these propellers, the BN, if you look on the front, I don't know how well you can see this here, but on the front of this propeller you've got BN on one, and on the other one you have got BNR. See? So you've got BN on one, BNR on the other. But as you'll notice, the propellers point the different ways. So the BN propellers, which on this particular copter are labelled 1 and 4, go on the black nut motors. Once they're on, then you're going to have to screw in the locking nut quite a way until it's quite tight. Again, you're going to have to hold the motor a little bit, not too hard, just enough so that the locking nut then just locks into place. And then once you've done that, then take off the blue nuts here. Oh, tell you what, let's open up this little bag here and let's use the little spanner that comes with it, and let's just give this a bit of a helping hand. Then we'll take off these little blue nuts. Sorry about the hands again folks. So we'll take these blue nuts off here, and then once we've taken these off, then we can fit the other propellers. The ones that say BNR, it's number 2 and 3 on here, like that. And now very carefully we just need to screw on this locking nut again until tight. That's a great thing about these locking nuts. Once they're on, they will lock into place, as the name suggests, and they will stay on. Might be worth though, as you are flying this the first time after assembly, as a part of the pre-flight check, just make sure, if you take her up, make sure a couple of seconds after doing so, maybe a minute or so after doing so, just bring her back down and make sure these locking nuts are still on nice and tight, nice and safe. Okay, so there we go. So the black nuts are done, the blue nuts are done as well. So that's pretty much what she looks like now. She's taking shape slowly. Right then, so what we're going to do next now is we're just going to fit the antenna mushroom. So on the back, where you've got all these cables and the battery, you can see there's a little antenna screw there. So this just screws in quite nicely into the back. Again, make sure she's tight, and then you can position the mushroom then wherever you want to, so that it is nice and, oh, there we go, that's nice and tight. There we go. Perfect. Right then, so that we've done that now, we get the choice. White or blue. So what I'm going to do, it's going to be in keeping with these propellers, we're going to use the blue one. Now when you're changing these, it's very important, you've got 4 little holes either side, 2 on each side. These slot into these here. So you've got 2 each side, and likewise the other side here. And once you've pushed them in, the plastic is quite pliable. Make sure the cut out front bit goes on the front over the camera, and then clip it into place. There we have it. Look at that. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay, so that's now fully assembled. That's now ready to go. What I'm going to do as well is, obviously, before we take it out, we're going to add some decals as well. I'm not going to do that now. I'll do that separately. But likewise, if you are going to attach these, same as any decals, make sure the areas that you work in is nice and clear, nice and safe, and also make sure they are clean so that the decals stick without any issues at all. Might be worth, before you stick these on this plastic, take the plastic back off. So we're going to keep that to one side. Now we're going to move everything that we've got here. Inside this little bag, by the way, you've got some spare Velcro, you've got some spare spacers and stoppers, you've got a screwdriver, an Allen key as well, should you need it. So it might be worth, on first flight, take this little bag with you, should you need to tighten up these little nuts here on the propellers. Look at that. That is probably the most complicated transmitter I think I've ever owned. This is a proper racing pedigree transmitter. So with this, you've got multiple different features, multiple different buttons on it as well. So you've got a couple of switches at the top here. We'll have a little look at the different configurations of these switches when we're going to go out, when we're going to fly in the next couple of days. If I just flip her over for the second, all the batteries that are required for the back. So as you saw earlier, the batteries for the transmitter already come with the quadcopter. Now what we're going to do is just open this packet, remove the batteries nicely like that, and then we're just going to put in the AA's as they are in here. Lovely. And then clip that all back in. Come on, there we go. So before we turn this on, we've got to make sure all the switches are pointing upwards, and then push the throttle all the way to the floor. And there we go. We're active. The telemetry screen does work really well. We'll have a little look, we'll set this up properly, as I say, when we take her out for a flight in the next couple of days. So we've got a couple of other dials at the top as well here. We've got a couple of trim buttons. The left throttle stick, which gives us altitude increases and decreases. And then we've got the right one then, which is directional movement. So that doesn't alter, that stays the same. The only thing which is different is that there are a lot of different switches. But as I say, when we take her out, we'll have a look at these switches and we'll go through them properly then. So there we go, folks. This is what you get in the package. You get your tilt rotor, you get a spare hood, you get your transmitter, you get your transmitter lanyard as well. So if you, because this transmitter is quite big, you can just clip the lanyard in there, tie it, put this around your neck. Also, you get the battery charger for the quadcopter, and then likewise you get a bag of accessories, which I highly recommend you take with you on first flight, should you need to do up any of these bolts or any of these screws which are already attached on this tilt rotor. Alright then folks, well that is everything. Now, as I say, I haven't got into the usual amount of detail as I usually do with the transmitter. We're going to have a little look at this again when we take her out in the next couple of days. So on that note, my friends, thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.